Star Wars Episode 7, the sequel to Return of the Jedi. So as you know, I've done a bunch of plot ideas on the new trilogy that's coming up of what I think the themes might be or should be based on the expanded universe and the characters themselves and the universe of Star Wars. But this video, it's been a while since I've done a Star Wars Episode 7 video. This one's going to focus on the potential returning characters or characters we might see in the next upcoming trilogy. Let's start off with the slam dunks. Let's get into it. Luke Skywalker. I always wanted to see him in his prime. He basically becomes knighted as a Jedi in Return of the Jedi. And then this new trilogy is supposed to take place time after. Who knows if they're going to do a flashback or how much flashback they're going to do. But let's face it, the last time they did the movie was 30 years ago, so all the actors are older, so they're going to pick up in real time basically at their age. So Luke Skywalker, they're establishing the New Republic. He's definitely going to return. Yeah, it's sad we don't get to see Luke in his prime, but whatever. He's supposed to potentially have a grown-up son. I'm sure he will have a son who's his own apprentice. Anyway, moving on. The three central characters, Luke Skywalker, Princess Leia, Carrie Fisher. Now, the rumor is that she's working out hardcore because she's overweight, and everyone knows. We've all seen the Sorority Row remake in 2009, and that's basically what she's doing. She's working out, even though no one's even officially signed on to the movie because Disney still has kept it under wraps. All we know is that they're filming in London studios over the next decade. They rented out space there, and John Williams is returning for the score. And obviously J.J. Abrams is directing and blah, blah, blah. Everyone knows all that information. But anyway, Han Solo, Indiana Jones, Harrison Ford. Okay, not Indiana Jones, but Harrison Ford, Han Solo character. Him and Leia most likely will get together like they do in the expanded universe and the following trilogies and novels that come after that in the comic books. They have two kids. Potentially another. I really would hate to see them recycle the whole evil Skywalker storyline and have Jason Solo turn into Darth Cadeus. I think that's what's going to happen. They're going to play that out over the trilogy. But okay, what other rebels and heroes? R2-D2, C-3PO, the droids. You gotta have them in some form. Anthony Daniels, that guy has made a living off of just replaying that character. Lando Calrissian, played by Billy D. Williams. Will he return? I think most likely in some capacity. He will be there flying the Millennium Falcon again with Han Solo. And don't forget about Chewbacca. They better not CGI him. It better be a full, huge, furry suit, just like they did in the prequels, just like they did in the original trilogy. He doesn't say much. Well, he speaks his own language. We might even see his own family, like in the Star Wars Holiday Special. Who knows? Anyway, I think Admiral Ackbar has to be leading the rebels, who commands his own rebel ship on the left here. You know, it's a trap. And let's say here, Mon Mothma, the only rebel female politician who basically knew the Organas and who's just another rebel politician and whatnot. And I think Jimmy Smits might return as Princess Leia's father. Now on to the dead Jedis that will potentially return. I think that, what's his name, who played Obi-Wan in the prequels, he's probably definitely going to return as Obi-Wan in some small capacity. Yoda you know how Jedi spirits live on in the afterworld. And Obi-Wan was central throughout the sequels in his flashbacks and coming back in a ghostly form. Mace Windu, Samuel L. Jackson, he's already expressed interest in returning. Qui-Gon Jinn, Liam Neeson, he may be returning. No, I don't really think so. He's always busy, and he's getting $20 million for, like, Taken 3, and he's, like, the biggest action star in the world, I guess, nowadays. But let's get to the good stuff. The villains, okay? The lead villain, I think we have to... And now there's finally a rumor. I've been talking about this for 8 months. It has to be a returning villain. They have to have some continuity. Not Vader, though. Definitely not Vader. The whole prequel and the original trilogy was all about, and George Lucas says that, it was all about the rise and fall of Darth Vader. And then it would just kind of like totally underline that whole storyline and mess it up. So they definitely got to have Vader rest in peace. He had his own funeral pyre done by Luke Skywalker in Return of the Jedi. So just leave it at that. Palpatine. I've been saying this. They got to have this guy. Oh my God, Ian McDiarmid. You know he was only in his late 30s, early 40s when he did the role in 1983 for Return of the Jedi. No joke. They put him in heavy makeup. And then obviously he reprised his role in the prequels. Once he puts on his hood and he's just like, you have to go to the temple and destroy the remaining Jedi. Oh, it's so insane. And he just like steps back into that role for like the first time in like 22 years. And you're like, this is fucking insane. I can't even believe anyone that hates the prequels. I absolutely love Revenge of the Sith. One of the best movies ever made. Even though it might be too CGI heavy. I think they're going to go back to like sets, like J.J. Abrams. If you watch special features of Star Trek, whenever they could do sets, he would make his crew build them or whatnot, and they'd try not to do blue screen just to give it that authentic kind of its own kind of a feel. That's how the original were. Complete sets, on location, in Tunisia. I heard they might be filming in Iceland. They were scouting locations. They need to film all over the world. Of course, they're going to film in studios and whatnot. But how will Palpatine return? Okay, you see, Vader throws him over the edge. He falls down into the abyss, and the reactor kind of like flames up. His royal guards go and get him. Basically, there's an ancient Sith Lord technique known as essence transfer, where he was so strong with the Force that he's able to transfer his conscious body or mind into an inanimate object, or let's say this, his stasis clones. He has them set up on planet Biss. And he also started it in the whole Star Wars franchise. Every movie has clones to some degree, a clone storyline. This is science fiction in a galaxy far, far away we're talking about. So he's been obsessed with living and reigning forever as the Sith Lord. And he set up a facility way back on a moon on Coruscant during the Clone Wars to basically experiment with this, and he created the clone troopers through Camino. All the Stormtroopers are clones, and then after the trilogy and the Thrawn trilogy now, Thrawn ends up searching the galaxy and he ends up cloning millions of his own Stormtroopers on the planet Wayland in less than a year. And then Luke Skywalker's hand gets cloned. That's all part of the Dark Empire, Thrawn trilogy, and the after comics of the expanded universe. So, Ian McDiarmid, you know he's only 69. He's only a few years older than Arnold Schwarzenegger. And he won't even need that much heavy makeup anymore, obviously. Guy's an amazing actor. And you might be wondering who this guy is. Oh, you know nothing if you're going to ask me who that guy is. That's Grand Admiral Thrawn, the only Imperial officer who is not human. There was a prejudice against alien species running the Imperial office. Basically, Palpatine saw something in him, and it was Palpatine's right-hand man, and he let him control the unknown regions of the galaxy. And once the Imperial... Remember the fight of the Death Star 2 at the end of Return of the Jedi? Remember there's a whole bunch of Star Destroyers that could destroy, and a whole bunch of Imperial officers that you see throughout the franchise, and their lives get ended? He's the one who kind of kept the Imperial Senate alive. And remember, the whole Senate was dissolved, and There's still going to be a bunch of planets backing. It's going to be the war where there's a whole bunch of planets in fear of Palpatine. His spirit will return in a new clone body. That's for sure. There was already rumors now in mid-August. Now they're finally starting to rumor that it's official, that he may be in talks to reprise his role. And then everyone's like, oh, they don't get it because they're stupid and they don't know anything about Star Wars. Like AMC Movie News. I think the stupid guy made some suggestion like, who's the villain going to be in Star Wars? Oh, I think it's going to be alien invaders. Wow, that's like the most common stupid answer I've ever heard. Do you know anything about Star Wars? It's Sith versus the Jedi, man. Oh, you want to go more in depth? Can you handle it? Okay, no, non-Star Wars fans cannot handle it. Are you ready for this? The Tag family. They were basically capitalists, industrial capitalists who basically provided the Emperor, who signed a contract deal, manufactured. They're basically war manufacturer, kind of like how Stark Industries manufactured weapons for different governments. Basically, that's what the Tag family dynasty and Baron Tag, who were. Okay, Saber Clash. It's a Marvel comic from the 70s. You know who Luke Skywalker's first lightsaber on saber duel was? Yeah, you guessed it. It was against Baron Tag. It's the most amazing fucking comic book ever, where he has his first duel. And this guy basically is so vain. He wants to be the Emperor's apprentice. He hates Vader for it. And they talk about the Emperor. And this is before Empire Strikes Back came out. This is late 70s, comic books, expanded universe. Oh my god, look it up. I did a fucking review of it. I think it's issue number, 30-something, 33. Look it up on my channel. Just search Star Wars comic book on my channel. Anyway, I think the Tag family tree will definitely be involved in some capacity. I gotta keep moving on here. Other characters that might be involved: Jabba the Hutt and Boba Fett. Let's say this. How would Boba Fett come back? Okay, if you know anything about the expanded universe, the very first comic book after Return of the Jedi, Marvel still did their series, it went on. They brought back Boba Fett in the very first comic book. And this is how they did it. He has a jetpack, right? He jetpacked out of the Sarlacc pit. I did a review of this. I think it's issue number 81 on VillainRadio. Search Star Wars comic book and you could see the review, see how this happens. Basically, he gets collected up by the scavengers known as the Jawas in Tatooine. Oh, and I don't think Jabba the Hutt's going to come back because he's already dead, but I'm doing this because the Hutt. Okay, just on Star Wars Wikipedia, Jabba has his own will, and there's a whole page on it, and it's so fucking long on his will. And so there's got to be a Hutt running the gangster crime family of Tatooine. They're going to return to Tatooine in some capacity. And if it's not Boba Fett, it's got to be another Mandalorian. I think they got to go to the Mandalorian planet. And let's say other bounty hunters like IG-88, Dungar. I could always see any people that I forgot that you think may be in it potentially. Leave me a line, drop a comment. I'm sure I forgot a few off the top of my head. And this was JVM from VillainRadio, Villain News. I'm out. Thanks for watching. I'd love to talk Star Wars with you. Just leave me a line, leave me a personal message. We could Skype, maybe do the next video talking Star Wars if you're knowledgeable and into the expanded universe. Okay, I'm out. Thanks for watching.